Imagine this. A crisp London night, the kind where the cold air makes your breath visible under the glow of streetlights. Outside the arena, there's a sea of people. Leather jackets, vintage band tees, the smell of beer and cigarettes drifting through the crowd. The kind of night where you know something big is about to happen, even if you don't know exactly what. Inside, the energy is already electric. The stage is shrouded in darkness, save for the faint shimmer of red light bleeding through the haze of smoke machines. Every few seconds, the crowd erupts into waves of chanting, that low, rumbling roar that grows louder the longer they wait. And then, without warning, the house lights drop completely. A single guitar riff slices through the silence, followed by the unmistakable growl of Alice Cooper's voice. The crowd goes wild. Phones shoot into the air, flashes strobing across the packed floor as the band launches into the first song of the night. For the next several minutes, it's pure, chaotic rock theater. Alice struts across the stage like a villain who owns the world. He's flanked by his band, each one pounding out a wall of sound so thick you can feel it in your chest. Pyro bursts from the sides, briefly lighting up the stunned faces of the front row. Theatrics, props, smoke, and those infamous creepy stage stunts Alice has been doing for decades, it's all there. But behind all the spectacle, something's brewing. Something nobody in that crowd knows is coming. Backstage, in the shadows, Johnny Depp is standing quietly off to the side. Fedora pulled low. That slow, half-smile on his face. He's not in full movie star mode. No entourage, no red carpet fanfare, just a guy with a guitar case leaning next to him, waiting for the right moment. The thing is, Johnny didn't come here tonight as a planned guest. This wasn't announced. No one, not even the die-hard fans who stalk tour schedules, had the slightest clue he'd be here. He'd been in London for other reasons, rumor has it, a mix of personal downtime and some private business meetings. But when he found out Alice was playing a show in the city, there was no way he was staying away. Johnny and Alice go back years. They're not just casual acquaintances, they've shared stages all over the world as part of the Hollywood Vampires, that rock supergroup with Joe Perry from Aerosmith. They've played to sold-out arenas, swapped stories on tour buses, and spent late nights jamming for no one but themselves. For Johnny, Alice isn't just a rock legend, he's a friend. And friends like that don't let each other play a London show without at least saying hello. From what crew members later whispered, Johnny arrived quietly, almost like a fan sneaking in. No big announcement, no backstage scene. He just showed up, guitar in hand. And when Alice saw him, one look was all it took. "You've got your guitar, right?" Alice grinned. Johnny nodded. And that was it. Halfway through the set, Alice finishes a song and the stage goes dark. The audience, already buzzing, starts cheering even louder. The band hits the first few slow, deliberate notes of the next number. The tension is building. And then, just like that, a spotlight cuts across the stage to the far left. The crowd freezes for a split second. Then the screaming starts. Because there he is. Johnny Depp. Walking into the light like it's the most natural thing in the world. No dramatic entrance, no fireworks, just him, strolling toward center stage, guitar slung over his shoulder, that same calm, cool, collected look on his face. Phones go up instantly. People are yelling, gasping, shouting his name. Some are laughing in disbelief, others are clutching their friends' arms, pointing, shaking their heads like they can't believe what they're seeing. Johnny doesn't milk the moment. He doesn't stand there soaking up applause. He just plugs in his guitar, gives Alice a quick nod, and then, boom. They're in it. The sound that follows is pure, dirty, blues-infused rock. Not the polished, radio-friendly stuff. The kind of raw, heart-in-your-throat playing that feels like it could fly off the rails at any second. And the song. It's not even part of Alice's tour setlist. This is a deep cut, a track only the real fans would recognize, a song the Hollywood vampires played together years ago. It's like watching two friends fall back into a private language only they understand. Alice leans into the mic, grinning, tossing Johnny little musical cues. Johnny responds with guitar lines that are both razor-sharp and completely relaxed, like he's been waiting all week for this exact moment. Here's the thing about Johnny Depp, people who only know him as an actor sometimes forget this part. Long before Hollywood, before the blockbusters and the scandals and the courtroom drama, Johnny was a musician first. He moved to Los Angeles as a teenager to chase a music career. Acting just happened to be the thing that paid the bills. But music? That's always been in his blood. And you can see it now. The way his hands move on the fretboard, the way he leans into the rhythm, the way he locks eyes with the drummer when they hit a particularly tight groove. This isn't some actor trying to play rock star. This is a musician in his element. Alice Cooper himself has said it, Johnny could do this full-time if he wanted. He's the real deal. And that night in London, there wasn't a single person in that arena who would have disagreed. The jam builds. The crowd's going crazy. People are singing, screaming, jumping in time with the beat. Johnny and the band keep pushing it, trading solos, stretching the song into something bigger than it ever was in the studio. And just when it feels like they might finally wind it down, Johnny steps forward and unleashes a solo that's pure fire. Messy in the best way, full of bends and slides and little bursts of speed that make the crowd roar even louder. It's not perfect. And that's what makes it perfect. Because this isn't a rehearsed moment. This is real. When the final chord rings out, it doesn't just end, it hangs in the air, vibrating through the floor, up the walls, and into every person's chest. The sound lingers for a moment, clinging to the rafters like it doesn't want to leave, the echo bouncing off the steel beams high above. The stage lights are still blinding, casting streaks of gold and crimson through the haze of smoke. You can smell it in the air, that mix of hot lights, electric cables, and the faint scent of spilled beer drifting from the crowd. The audience isn't just clapping. They're roaring. It's that deep, guttural kind of applause that isn't polite or measured, it's primal, full-bodied, coming from people who just had their expectations blown to pieces. The sound swells and swells, until it's less like a reaction and more like a living thing, surging forward toward the stage. Johnny stands there for a brief moment, guitar still slung at his side, his head tilted slightly like he's soaking it all in, not in an egotistical way, but as if he's letting himself feel the weight of the moment. The lights catch the edge of his fedora, throwing part of his face into shadow. There's a hint of a smile, but it's the kind that belongs to someone who knows exactly what they just did without needing anyone to tell them. Alice Cooper, standing just a few feet away, turns to look at him. Their eyes meet for a fraction of a second, and in that look there's an entire conversation, years of friendship, of late-night jams on tour buses, of private jokes only they get. No one else in the arena could possibly hear it, but you can feel it. The grin that spreads across Alice's face isn't just the grin of a showman pleased with a good performance. It's the grin of a man who's just had one of those moments, the ones you can't plan, the ones that happen because the universe lines up perfectly for a few minutes. There's no need for speeches. No choreographed ending. No, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Depp, shouted over the mic. That's not how this night is going to end. The two men simply share that knowing nod, the kind that says, yeah, that was good. Johnny takes a small step back from the center of the stage, letting the rest of the band soak up the cheers. He doesn't try to compete with the spotlight. He doesn't need to. The crowd knows what they just saw. They've already burned it into their memories. With one hand, he gives a simple wave, low, understated, fingers curling slightly as if to say thank you without making it a production. It's not the big, sweeping, rock star wave you see at the end of every concert. It's something quieter, more personal, almost like he's waving to an old friend in the back row. Then, in one smooth motion, he slides the guitar strap over his shoulder and catches the neck of the instrument. It's the same worn, road-tested guitar he's played on tour before, the one that's picked up scratches and dings from years of being slung into cases and leaned against amplifiers. He doesn't cradle it like it's fragile. He handles it like it's an extension of himself. There's a brief moment where he adjusts the fedora on his head, a tiny, instinctive gesture, and then he turns toward the side of the stage. His boots catch the light with each step, the leather worn in just enough to look comfortable but not flashy. The applause is still going, still pounding against the stage like a storm. He doesn't rush. He doesn't linger, either. His pace is steady, unhurried, like a man leaving the room after finishing exactly what he came to do. From the crowd's perspective, it's almost surreal. One moment, Johnny is there, planted right in the middle of the stage like he's been born for that spot, the spotlight spilling over him, every movement timed perfectly with the beat. He's locked in with Alice Cooper, the two of them exchanging riffs like secret messages, throwing each other little smirks between notes. It's got that gritty, untamed energy you only see in old footage from the golden age of rock, when the music felt dangerous, unpredictable, alive. Every chord hits like a jolt of electricity, and the crowd is right there with them, riding every rise and fall. Then, almost as quickly as he appeared, something shifts. The lights begin to change, sliding away from him, and the edges of the stage seem to swallow him up. He doesn't make a big exit. There's no grand bow, no showy wave. It's quieter, more deliberate, a retreat into the shadows. Step by step, the glow fades from his shoulders, and the deep, dramatic contrast between light and darkness makes it feel like he's slipping into another world entirely. The crowd's reaction is almost confused at first. Phones are still up, trying to follow him, screens glowing as people angle for one last glimpse. A few voices shout his name, desperate to pull him back into the light, but he doesn't turn. The music has shifted back into Alice's hands, but you can feel that everyone's eyes are still trying to follow Johnny. Even as he disappears into the wings, his presence hangs in the air, lingering like the echo of a final note that refuses to fade. And for the people standing there, it's clear they've just witnessed something rare, here 1 second, gone the next, and unforgettable. You can see people in the front rows still yelling his name, arms outstretched like they're hoping for one last look, one last acknowledgement. A few lucky fans swear later that he glanced their way, gave the slightest nod, but whether that's true or just the adrenaline talking is anyone's guess. As he nears the curtain, one of the stage crew, a guy in black jeans and a headset, steps forward and pats him on the shoulder. Johnny nods in thanks but keeps moving. And then, just like that, he's gone. Not gone in the rockstar sense, where the performer disappears into a cloud of security and screaming fans. Gone in the simplest, most unpretentious way possible, slipping off stage like a man leaving a friend's house after a good night, satisfied but not making a big deal about it. But here's the thing, for the thousands of people still screaming inside that arena, it was a big deal. A huge one. They'd just seen something unplanned, something you can't fake. A rock legend and a Hollywood icon jamming together, not for publicity, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Even after Johnny's gone, the energy in the room doesn't fade. It's like the air is still charged with electricity. Alice takes a step toward the mic, ready to dive into the next song, but even he can't help grinning at what just happened. The rest of the band members are still exchanging glances, some shaking their heads with that "did that just happen" expression musicians get when they've shared the stage with someone who knows how to play. Backstage, Johnny probably isn't thinking about the fact that in the next 24 hours, videos of this moment will be all over the internet. He's not thinking about how headlines will call it epic and unexpected and legendary. He's not thinking about the thousands of fans who will rewatch those shaky phone clips on repeat, picking apart every note. He's just walking down the narrow hallway behind the stage, guitar still in hand, maybe heading toward a small green room where he can set it down, grab a drink, and swap a few words with Alice before slipping out into the London night. And that's part of what makes the whole thing feel so genuine. There's no press release, no over-the-top self-promotion. Just two friends who got to share the stage again, for no other reason than because they could. The people who were there will talk about it for years. They'll tell their friends, I was there the night Johnny Depp showed up out of nowhere at an Alice Cooper concert. They'll describe the way the crowd reacted, the sound of that final chord, the way Johnny waved before disappearing into the wings. And maybe, on some level, that's the magic of moments like this. They're not just performances. They're memories, little flashes of time that feel almost unreal when you look back on them. The music fades, the lights dim, the stage empties. But for the people who witnessed it, the feeling stays. Because sometimes the most unforgettable moments aren't the ones that are planned to the second. They're the ones that just happen. But to the people in that room, it was massive. Within hours, the videos are all over social media. Fans are calling it the highlight of the tour. Rock blogs are breaking down every detail, what song they played, what gear Johnny used, even the expressions on Alice's face during the solos. And then the rumors start. Could this have been a warm-up for something bigger? A surprise UK show with the Hollywood vampires? Maybe even a full tour? Nothing's confirmed, but the whispers keep getting louder. And if Johnny's recent appearances are anything to go by, he's saying yes to more and more of these moments. For some people, this night was just a cool surprise. For others, it was something more. A reminder of what live music can do. How it can bring people together, make them forget everything else for a couple of hours, and leave them buzzing for days after. And for Johnny's fans, it was proof that his creative spark is alive and well. That despite everything, every headline, every controversy, every high and low, he's still got that fire. And maybe, just maybe, he's ready to let it burn a little brighter again. So if tomorrow, Alice Cooper and Johnny Depp announced a tour together, would you go? Would you be front row, singing along, phone in hand, trying to capture the magic? Or would you rather keep this night in London as one of those rare, perfect surprises that only happen once? Because for the people who were there, it's already become one of those, I was there, stories they'll be telling for the rest of their lives.